Hey, this is Justin Gerard, co-host of CPG Insiders, the podcast. Back to you with some more thoughts on CPG and retail. So what I want to talk to you about today is what are the top three things to look at? What are the top three factors to take into consideration if you're looking at your business to say, you know what, I'm ready to go to brick and mortar retail, right? So what are the top three things that are going to say, yep, you're ready for brick and mortar retail? So number one is sales. Okay, sales is the key. So you have to have sold in most categories at least 50,000 to 100,000 units in the past year. So you've got to have that sales story ready to go. You got to be moving a lot of units, and a lot of buyers also want to see a history of it. So traditionally, buyers are going to want to see a couple years of these types of sales because anyone can be a flash in the pan kind of success overnight. Look what COVID did to a lot of industries. Didn't mean retail buyers could trust it. But it starts with, hey, are you moving at least 50,000 to 100,000 units annually? That's step one. Step two is you have a scalable marketing and advertising strategy. And what's really going to make sure you're ready is that you actually have incorporated a mass media tactic that, again, you're doing successfully. You're scaling it. You know what your cost per acquisitions are. You know what your profit margins need to be, and you're growing. So, and the reason why I say you're going to need some mass media is because when you're thinking about retail, right, here's the thing. When you're talking about in an e-commerce business and the one place that you have to get people to convert to is on this thing. So essentially, think about it this way. You have one destination that you have to get them to go buy, which is on their phone. And it could be Amazon or it could be your website, but it's still in one location in their hand, right? So when you move into the retail space, now you have to think about the fact that all of a sudden now I have all of these physical locations that I have to continue to drive sales to. And each one of them has to get a certain velocity number for you to stay on and be successful. So all of a sudden, you have to take people and move them to a place where they shop, and it's going to be all over the country. So what you're really going to need to be able to leverage is you're going to need to be able to leverage the efficiencies of mass media. You're going to need to be starting to get into medias that are getting, those cost per thousand CPMs that are closer to the $2, $3, $4, $5 mark, right? And if you're mostly reliant, still high impactful and could be a good ROI in your e-commerce space, but if you're relying on some of these more digital or really great affiliate or influencer tactics or podcasts, right, that have really high CPMs, they're in the 25, 40, 50, 60 range. And in the digital space, it's the ROI is working for you. That's fantastic. But when you go to a retail and you have to move so many doors, you're going to see that it's not going to work. It's not going to be as effective. You're not going to get the return. So you need to make sure that in your marketing, you have been able to incorporate a mass media type of tactic and you really understand it and it's really working for you because that's going to be the key to being successful when you get on shelf. So again, number two is a scalable marketing strategy. And number three, you've got manufacturing capacity where you can at least 5 to 10x what you're currently doing right now. That is key, right? The number one thing you never want to do is you don't never want to get a retailer and then you can't ship. Then you can't keep inventory. Because I promise you, that's when you're going to get kicked out of store, and you don't want to know what happens when you get kicked out. But even if you're not at risk of getting kicked out right away, there's going to be so many fines for late shipments. You're going to be spending marketing dollars and driving people to stores where there's no products. All of a sudden, now you're losing money on your marketing efforts because there's no sales attached to it. So you have to make sure that you have the manufacturing capacity to keep up with what is going to be the demand of moving into retail. Because the other things you always have to remember is when you move into retail, what happens is they're going to want so many pieces on shelf in the store. So let's say that Walmart takes your order, right? And there's 4,600 locations of Walmart. Let's say you get chain wide. So we got 4,600 locations. And let's say that they're going to say that we're going to want 4 pieces per store. Okay, so do the math, right? So you're going to start with 4 pieces per store at 4,600 locations, but they're also going to require that you ship them 4 pieces per store in their DCs so they back up inventory so that they can continue to ship. That's just your first order. And then you have to keep up with the turn. So hopefully you're successful and you have to keep up with that manufacturing moving forward to scale. So you have to make sure that you have the manufacturing capacity that you can 5 or 10x what you're currently doing right now. That will make sure you're in really, really good shape to be in retail. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is remember that right now in any given category, 80 to 90%, or let's say 70 to 90%, depending on the category, of all products sold in any one category are still sold in the brick and mortar store. People still want to go touch, feel, products. So that's still the place for maximizing the growth of any brand right now. That's why you want brick and mortar. That's the key. That's why you want it, right? And so if you're looking at your brand and your products and you're saying, I check that, I think I'm ready to go, right? Then the last piece of the puzzle is you need to be able to walk into that meeting with that retail buyer and you need to tell them how you're going to make them more money. That's the key. That's it. It's all about sales. And so there are 3 different ways that you're going to be able to make them more money, right? So number 1 is gross margin. I've got a premium price product. I've got amazing margins, and I'm looking at one of the products that you have on shelf right now. I'm $4 more than that item, so I'm going to get you 20% more margin, and I'm going to move more velocity or the same velocity. So all of a sudden now, put me in there, take them out because I'm going to make you more money because I've got more margin. That's one way to do it. Second way to do it is by velocity. You can say, hey, we're the same price, but I can show you how I'm selling way more product than they are, so bring me in. That math's pretty simple, right? That's one way that's possible. Or the last is that you can show them that you're a category expander. So what does that mean? Essentially what that means is that you're going to be either bringing them new consumers, so you're going to bring new customers to their shelf that they're currently not getting, or you're going to show how you are a companion product, so you're going to be able to get this one customer to be spending more money. So you're not going to be taking sales from any one other product. An example of a companion product is when conditioner first came out, right? Originally, you just bought shampoo, and then conditioner was invented, so now people were walking out with 2 bottles instead of 1. So are you a companion product? Or can you walk in there and say, you know what? You've been really trying to get this type of customer, this demographic. They're a valuable demographic to you, and they're not currently coming to your shelf. This is my customer. This is who I'm winning over in this space, and I can show you how if you bring me onto your shelf, now you're getting new customer, meaning new dollars coming in. So now I'm making you more money because you weren't getting those before. So that's really what you have to do. You've got to figure out what is that sales story, where does it fit? And it could be, it could fit a couple of those stories, right? But you have to be able to walk into that retail buyer and show them how I am going to make you more money in one of these 3 ways. This is how. And then when you look back, you need to have the sales to prove that, right? Because how can you show them that you're making more money if you don't have the sales track record? They want to see what your marketing plan is, right? So great. How are you doing that? And how are you going to do that for me? So you have to have a great marketing strategy that's going to scale. And then they're going to, if they get sold and all that, they're going to want to make sure that you can keep product on shelf. Because if it's not there, no one can buy it. So then you have to make sure you can walk in and say, here's our supply chain, here's our manufacturing. We are good to go. We can handle this. Give me a shot. So anyway, I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any more questions as it relates to CPG, to the brick and mortar space, please reach out to us. You can reach out to us on our website for CPG Insiders. You can reach out to on our website at jnhlabs.com for the agency. If you're a podcast listener, thank you so much. If you're not, hey, go download us. Or if you'd rather connect with us on YouTube, subscribe to the page. All right. Have a great day.